Welcome to the Assist Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Schwartz, and today joining me for the first time. Is this your first podcast appearance?
This is my very first podcast appearance.
Good friend, old friend, former classmate, Brandon Ross. Brandon, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good, Zach.
That's excellent to hear. It's been a good summer for you?
Yeah, pretty much just working all the time.
Working at the pool?
Yeah.
And other things, or just the pool?
2 pools.
Oh, 2 pools.
Akron and Newark.
Oh, North Olmsted. So you're double pool. That's crazy.
Yeah. I regret my life choices sometimes.
So you are a junior now at the University of Akron.
Correct.
Studying biomedical engineering.
Trying to.
Okay. So what is new in biomedical engineering? Anything?
Dude, that's the wrong question to ask.
I love that we go into these fields and we don't even know like how to describe the field as it is.
We sort of just show up to class and hope for the best at this point.
So like, I know I was interested in biomedical engineering. I know you and I used to talk about it a little bit in high school.
Yeah.
And I remember it being just like kind of a mix of like every other engineering almost and like designed for medical things. Is that still how it kind of is?
Yeah, basically.
It's almost like they haven't like allowed it to be its own thing yet.
I mean, when it comes to the human body, like you need to know like all the chemistry that goes into that.
Yeah.
And like biomechanics is very similar to the mechanics of machines.
Right.
So I mean, honestly, you're basically just a mechanical engineer with some slight chemical knowledge.
Okay, I see. Because I hear like there's a big company on campus at UCF. It's the like Limitless Solutions, and they design custom prosthetics for kids and stuff like that. I guess that's technically bio,
that's
but like
bio.
you said, that's a lot of physics and stuff trying to design prosthetics.
Yeah.
Okay. I know at UCF they added biomed major our first year, but instead of it being its own thing, they combined mechanical engineering and my major, which is biomedical sciences. So like pre-med and mechanical engineering together. It's like a double major almost, but they called it biomed engineering. And that seemed insane to me.
That sounds awful.
Sounds insane. Like combining two of the most dense, not necessarily hard, but like dense subjects together to where you really have to. I thought that was crazy, and that I could not believe anybody would do that, but people do.
Why would you choose to? That's crazy.
Yeah, I think that's murder. So you're going into a field you don't really understand yet. Do you have an end goal in mind? Do you have like what is Brandon Ross's dream job with this degree?
I definitely want to work in prosthetics of some sort. Whether I'll like that or not is a different story.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is there like, I wonder if like prosthetics, if like, this is going to be weird, but it's like, you have a favorite part of the body. You're like, I just love making arms, man.
Yeah, I love making fake penises.
That's when you're contracted for Adult Mart right there. That's when you're pumping out. There was a big, Katie and I were watching a comedy special. The girl was Whitney Cummings, very funny comedian on Netflix. We watch a lot of comedy now. And she brought out, like, there's this whole, like, sex robot thing. And she was talking about, like, she had a couple bits about it. And talking about how, and she had one made because you can make it, like, custom design and stuff like that. She's like, they're like, if you want to visit the factory, like, do you want to have one made of you? And she's like,
Of herself?
Of herself. It's like, sure. So she brought on stage dressed the same way she was. It was pretty crazy. So, and then I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast, and she was on there to promote her show, and she brought the robot in there with the studio, and obviously you can't see it. But you just randomly hear sometimes, she would just start talking and say random shit, the robot would, while Joe and Whitney were talking. And Joe at one point just said, throw that thing in the lake. Throw that fucking thing in the lake. It's like, I can't. He's like, turn it off. Deal with it. It's crazy because it's like a weird industry, I guess. It's like, or not even weird. It's like stigmatized. Very stigmatized, you know?
Yeah.
But like, it's happening. That's the thing.
I'm just trying to get my head around what would you do with a sex robot of yourself every other day of the year when you're not doing a comedy special.
Oh yeah, and I guess I guess she just leaves it in the house, and like her husband, like her fiance, looks at it and is like, I don't like this. And then her joke was that the one day she came back from a trip and her husband's like, I still don't like her, but the boobs feel like boobs. It was just like, it's the most male statement in history. It's like,
he had to try it out,
Yeah, it's like, so yeah, it's just like it's one of the things, like this whole AI thing's happening, the whole automation thing everyone keeps talking about. It's like a big buzzword now, AI, automation, whatever. And it's like sex robots. It's like, whoa, we didn't mean for this to happen. Like, hold on,
go back,
yeah,
delete.
It's like 15-year-olds don't have the money for that. That's the target audience right there. Like, we don't. Goodness gracious,
find a real human being for the love of Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like a 14-year-old, I guess it's better like than trying to. I mean, every guy knows it's like when you're 14, 15. I'm sure girls are similar. It's just different hormone. Like, testosterone starts rolling through, and you're just like don't even know what's like straight or not, like up and down. You're like don't know what's going on.
Have to fuck everything in sight.
Seems like it. I mean, it feels that way. Wake up every morning. What do you want from me? It's insane. It's insane. But yeah, so I guess that's happening. Driverless cars, faster airplanes, all that stuff, and sex robots.
Yes, sex robots.
It's beautiful. It's really. I will never own one, but I mean, it's apparently a really big deal. Like, you can request like people's faces, like actresses and stuff. Like,
that's creepy.
It's a little weird.
That's a little too far. Like, make a generic face and be okay with it.
I wonder if, like, how like there's that big debate with the college football players not getting paid.
Yeah.
I wonder if, like, say you request like she mentioned someone's eyes. I forgot who it was, but it's like if you're like, I want Scarlett Johansson's eyes on my robot. Does Scarlett Johansson get like a cut of that? She should. She grew those eyes herself.
That's true.
Like, is she able to make money off of her sex robot donations?
I feel like if it was me, though, I just wouldn't want to know. Like, just don't tell me.
But yeah, I guess that's true. But the problem is if people are going out and talking about it like that,
it's true.
Then you're gonna know. I'd rather receive a check in the mail for some creepy guy getting.
Don't tell me what the check is for. Just sign it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like just this random like shell company out in like, I don't know, Kentucky or Louisiana or some shit. Yeah, that's insane. I wonder if they like. Do they have like guy ones? They have to, right?
They'd have to.
Okay. That's the gender equality there.
But I mean, like, all you would need is the penis, right?
Yeah, I guess basically.
And like they already have that. It's just not attached to a body.
That's true, right? That girls certainly have a lot bigger. So there's I'm part of the pre-med club on UCF. There's a like convention every year that we go to in Washington D.C. National Convention. Tons of speakers come. We have keynote speakers, and then the people like will come. There'll be like workshops. There's some really helpful ones. Like I went to a radiology one with AI, which is really cool for me because that's the field I want to go into. And then there's some that are other interesting, like nutrition. There's ones where you can learn how to do IVs, stuff like that. So then there was one that was just, let's talk about sex. So naturally, the 6 guys that went on the trip all went there.
Because they were curious.
We were curious.
Sex, you say?
And then we... Also, a lot of the girls went... the club is very female-dominated, so that's what I say. But I guess there wasn't that many good like workshops at that point. So a lot of people were there from our chapter. Let's talk about sex was... I was thinking maybe it's like a hormonal thing, like how it like works. Like that'd be kind of cool. Like I should probably learn that as a future doctor. I'm going to have to. No, it was about... Let's talk about sex toys. This man...
Whoa.
This man, he was the president of AMSA, actually, of the whole national thing. And this man, with a straight face, delivered a full hour-long talk and it had table. that include butt plugs, vibrators.
He had
You could go up at the end and touch it. You could go up and touch it. I don't think you could use it, but you could go up and touch it. Yeah.
I hope you couldn't use it.
I mean, those butt plugs they're wide. I mean, man. I like you hear about them. And you're like that's crazy in general, but they are wide.
They gotta open you up.
I guess, but yeah. So I mean, and he's going through, and he's like, okay, so DIY options. You could, and there's a picture of a cucumber up there. I was like, no way. I was like, this is what this is real. This is happening. It just went on and on. It was actually an overfilled room in terms of the amount of chairs they had. So we were sitting in the back. And my best friend, my two best friends and I from Florida down there, we're sitting in the back, dead center from the speaker. So I swear to God, he's just looking dead at us. I'm sitting there, my face is turning red because I'm just not. I would like to think I'm more mature than I was 5 years ago. But when you get up there and you're talking about dildos and stimulation and vaginal stimulation from the vagina with a cucumber, I'm sorry. I am going to laugh.
That shit's funny.
I'm going to laugh forever. And I mean, and then he just started talking about cock rings, all this stuff. And then I'm horrified. I'm like, oh, yes. So yeah, that happened. That was a national conference, though.
That's so funny. He had a table.
Yes, I mean, and he was I have to say, fantastic speaker. Because I don't know how you make it through a talk with a PowerPoint.
Doing it a lot.
A very visual heavy PowerPoint. To be able to do that. I mean, he must be, but I mean, he was just a pro, I gotta say.
He's well practiced. He's had a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, it was insane. I still can't fathom it. I'm sure I have pictures of it. I mean, let's see if I can pull them up. The audience can't hear this, but maybe I can show you at least. Let's see. Maybe they're on my phone. Hold on. But while I do that, let's switch gears a little bit. You are the only other Barcelona fan in North Ridgeville that I know of, other than my father.
My brother's one.
Oh, Andrew is?
Yeah, Andrew's a Barca fan.
So he's happy about the Griezmann thing, right? About the Antoine Griezmann transfer. He's nicknamed... Brandon's brother is nicknamed Griezmann. Why? Because he looks like him? Is that why? He kind of had a passing resemblance?
Yeah, they looked very similar his freshman year, because... Griezmann's haircut was the exact same as his.
Okay. Or was it the other way around? Was it that he modeled his hair after Griezmann?
I think it just happened by accident. Oh, there is pictures.
There's a picture of a Cuba?
That's an electric toothbrush.
That's an electric toothbrush for the DIY, for the sex toys.
I mean, I've heard the stories.
What? You've heard stories of that? Oh, that's the table.
Yeah, I've heard of people using...
That's the table dildos. I can't make this up, guys.
You think those were bought new or?
Oh, I sure hope they were. Oh, yeah. And then here's a picture of a demonstration for cock ring. Honestly, didn't know where a cock ring went until the picture came up of a digital penis.
Wait, the balls go in.
The balls can go in the cock ring, or they can go out. I guess it depends.
It depends if you're a balls in or balls out kind of guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So anyway, okay. Now to conclude our conversation on that, just so Brandon could see the visual. The club has been in a weird spot the last couple of years. Ever since the Champions League victory in 2015, it's been a bit strange.
I would agree.
As the team has suffered now 3 heavy defeats in Champions League. Juventus in 2016 got beat 3-0. I remember.
Yep.
2017 was
Roma.
Maybe 2016, 17. Years off, but you get the idea. And then last year, Liverpool.
Oh my God.
Honestly, when Liverpool scored the second goal, watching the game at home because it was spring break, or maybe it was just the semester just ended. I knew once they scored the second one. I knew. I maintained hope throughout the game, of course. I'm not saying I got up and left, but I had this overarching, even before the game, 538. I don't know if you're familiar, a big stat company. So the projection that had Liverpool 7% of moving on. So it's way too low.
Yeah.
And I maintained that Barcelona weren't good last year anyway.
They were really just Messi.
Mm-hmm.
Just Messi and some glints here and there of Ousmane Dembele.
And Suarez is just so inconsistent now, which is like when he's on, but
Because he's old as fuck.
I know.
He should not be the starting striker.
I joked that he should just. Someone said they were looking to sell him. I think it might have been Coach Everett, and I was like, they can't though, because that would piss off Messi. They're best friends.
They literally can't.
So I said put him on the B team
Yeah, I heard that joke at the alumni
to
game.
finish off his career. But yeah, I mean, I love Suarez. It's just you're right. He's aging. He gets injured a little bit more, and that's why I think part of the reason the move for Griezmann makes so much sense because he can start out wide when Suarez starts.
Yeah.
And then you could bring Dembele off the bench to do whatever. You could even drop Messi back into a 10, which he'll eventually become once he gets a bit slower. I think he's still capable of playing a wing right now. But for Griezmann, and then when Suarez, he needs a break, whatever, but you still want to put a starting star striker out there, you can throw Griezmann up top, and it's very similar, like a 4-4-2 or whatever. So I think that was an important signing. I think it was a fair price as well, $120. I mean, it sounds ridiculous that that's a fair price, but I think it is. He's a star striker.
Yeah.
World Cup winner. So I was very excited at that. Frankie de Jong in the midfield.
My gosh, yes.
Midfield was so stale last year.
The midfield, in my opinion, we should have De Jong playing where Busquets plays.
Yeah.
Arthur playing as like the Xavi role.
Okay. So
and then Coutinho being like an Iniesta, because that's where Coutinho is best, in the midfield, playing a more creative attacking role than rather on the left wing.
In sports, I try to maintain a level-headed. I'm not one of those people. I think this is probably growing up a Michigan fan in Ohio State land, is that I can't be too hateful, otherwise I would have got beat up. I can't be too angry all the time. And also, I've been raised with Detroit sports to have a level of failed expectation all the time. Therefore, I don't usually get mad at players when they mess up. I understand they're humans. I don't normally just yell at things that are happening. I don't yell at other fans, all this stuff. There's a small exception to that rule. There's a couple players I can think of in my lifetime.
Is one named Felipe?
Felipe Coutinho. Jesus Christ. What you say makes sense, and you're right. He does fit best as that kind of number 10 role, sliding in between the lines and playing that. So you're right on that. And a lot of times Barcelona tried playing him as a winger. And the problem with that is he likes to come central. But the problem is that's Messi's job, is to come central.
That's true.
So then you end up with a 4-5-1, but it's a lopside, and it's just kind of weird. I would sell Coutinho for $1.
$1?
$1. Barcelona paid 100-something, 40, 130. Something like that. I don't know. It's weird with the conversions.
$1.
He made me so frustrated last year. I think it might have been the Man U Champions League game. I was like, he's actually playing well this game for the first 50 minutes. Last 75 minutes, shocker. Terrible. So if he was playing out of position, that's fine. But he's just been, even now, they're trying to... Barcelona's just like, I see all these rumors. They're like, we're worried. No one's offered anything for Coutinho. It's like, gee, I wonder why. Apparently, there are rumors that he might go to Tottenham, though. Liverpool don't want him. Rumors that I think the deadline's tomorrow, right? Well, the deadline will have passed by the time this is out for the Premier League.
Yeah.
For Spain and everything else, it's later.
I found it very frustrating that the Premier League decided to change the deadline to not the end of August, because now I'm confused.
Yeah, because every year for us is a big celebration. It was like one of the first weeks when school started. We're like, hey, it's transfer deadline day. We're all checking our phones in middle school and stuff. And now it's completely different. I think it makes sense because it's always weird to me that you can play 3 games and you're like, hey, new signing coming in. And it's almost like the trade deadline for basketball, but it's not, because then there's another transfer window in January, which is halfway through the year. So it's a little weird. But my thing is, if you're gonna do one, you should do it all. It's weird that the Premier League you can't buy or sell people, but then in Spain you're able to. And they're, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now that you're right, because now it's weird because one deadline's earlier than the other, and by a significant portion, 2-3 weeks.
Yeah,
enough time to negotiate a full ass transfer.
What transfer was it last year that
Oh goodness, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember who it was though.
I feel like the team was completely blindsided by that, and they couldn't do anything
Yeah.
because the transfer window was closed. So they were just down that player. I don't.
That's because there's a buyout clause and they just or something like that. They just let him go. That's a terrible chief executive right there,
Dude.
That's where the movement in soccer has been to, they call it director of football, which I think is equivalent to like a GM.
Yes.
Some teams don't have them, which is hilarious. Like Manchester United doesn't have a quote-unquote GM.
Oh, they need one.
It's like a requirement for all the NBA, NFL, and NHL teams, and even probably the MLS teams to have one. Or a president or whatever it is, president of soccer operations. Whatever the titles are, it doesn't matter.
I feel like Barcelona has like all 4 of those titles. And it's all just some old player that hopefully knows what they're doing.
Well, who's Abidal's at the club, right? Eric Abidal?
Yeah, I think he's soccer operations or something like that, or like recruitment or something.
Yeah. There are rumors that Carlos Puyol is coming back to the fold.
He's coming back?
Victor Valdez, I believe, just got the B team job.
I think he's juvenile A.
Oh, so he's the step below that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like U19 or something.
Former goalkeeper, beloved goalkeeper. So that's what they're all going to do. Xavi's still playing, but like eventually it'll be...
Xavi's manager of the...
Oh, is he now?
Club that he left for. El Sad or something.
Puyol even said this. It's like, it'd be great. Xavi as manager, me as something. I think it might have been like director of football, and then PK as the one over like the media with them. And I'm like, so you guys have talked about this before. You have had this planned. And you know what? Barcelona will definitely do that because soccer, the biggest thing in soccer is just it's a wheel of just like, it's very hard to break into it. But once you're in, you can never get thrown out, no matter how bad of a job you do. Like if you look at some of the managers.
Maradona.
Yeah. People think the NFL is bad with recycling coaches. Soccer is just like one guy, like Sam Allardyce. How many jobs has he had?
Yeah. To be fair to him, he usually comes in when the team he is signing for is in a relegation battle.
Yeah.
And almost always they stay up. So like he does what he's supposed to do. Like Everton was shit like 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
And they got him and they were better. Like they were still playing Sam Allardyce soccer.
Right.
But they were better.
Yeah, that's true. There's another one, Steve Bruce. Isn't he's taking over?
Was he?
Is it Newcastle?
Maybe.
Because Benitez is gone? Yeah, it's crazy.
He was at Aston Villa at one point, wasn't he?
I think he was everywhere. If you've been sniffing relegation, he's been there. He was at Hull City, I know for sure.
If you almost went down or did go down, he's been part
Steve
of you.
Steve Bruce has got you. So you're a big soccer fan, as people have figured out by now. What other sports are you into? Are you into any other ones major? You're Canadian citizenship, right? So are you half Canadian?
My mom is Canadian,
Okay.
so I guess that does make me half.
Are you a big hockey fan then?
Dude, I know next to nothing about hockey. I know the name PK Subban. And
the big defender.
Yeah. And there was a guy on the Canadians. I don't know if he's still there. He could be. I don't know. But his name was Travis Moen. Buy it for looks, buy it for life.
That's a commercial? Or what is it? Buy it for looks, buy it for life? Like, what do you mean?
It's Moen, like the sink faucet brand.
Oh my god.
That's their slogan, and his name is Travis Moen.
Okay.
That's all I know about him.
I see. Yeah, I've been trying to get into hockey for a while, like just trying to understand it, but it's hard. It's weird for me to kind of, because it's very similar to indoor soccer.
Yeah.
But it's not. You know what I mean?
I wish the puck was orange so bad so I could actually see it on the ice half the time.
That's what some people complain about.
Like, I'm sure if you watch it all the time, you have no problem. But like, I'm just like, where is it now? Oh,
yeah,
that guy
you
just
can't
shot
see
it.
Yeah, it's one of the worst parts. Like playing NHL, like on PlayStation or something. You're trying to find a puck. Sometimes you just can't. You're like, and all of a sudden it's a goal. You're like, cool.
I
just got scored on.
I had like the 2010 version of that game.
Yeah.
On my Xbox 360. I played it a solid 2 times. Didn't understand the controls whatsoever.
That's what when I've played Joe Grawl before, and he does the button to shoot. I'm like, that's not fair. You gotta do the stick. You gotta wind up. You gotta use the. I'm like, it's not. It's a different control. Just do it. It's easier. I'm like, no, it takes away from the integrity. Like, there's integrity in video games. Like, I mean, I play Grand Theft Auto. Like, there's integrity in that. I get mad when someone shoots me, like in free mode. I'm not doing anything. I'm like, integrity that I do. Oh, let's do this mission where I get to go rob the bank and kill all the cops. Perfect. My mom watches us play Grand Theft Auto sometimes.
How's that go?
The other day, she had the astute observation that I kept dying during the missions, which was true. The mission was that we were trying to rob cars from a police station, which required me to shoot some police officers. I hope no one edits this and it's just like, oh, Zach's a...
Please keep this in context.
It's Grand Theft Auto. If you haven't played or don't know what Grand Theft Auto is by now, I mean, just... My business includes dealing weapons and drugs, so don't worry about it. In the game. So...
GTA 5, ever heard of it?
I'm just digging myself into a hole, bigger and bigger. But yeah, she'll watch it, and then like whenever we drive like these supercars, and then we crash. Max has this helicopter, or not this motorcycle that flies.
Okay.
Yeah. So like he'll hit streetlights and crap and like crash in the mountains. So I think she finds it vaguely entertaining while being shocked that like you're able to do this. I feel like it takes a lot of like software engineering work to get a game to work because it's a pretty big like open area. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun when it's just like I have an hour. What am I going to do? I'm just going to kill some time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Kill some people too.
Exactly. Do you play any video games? FIFA probably.
I actually haven't played that much FIFA 19 because I think that game is trash, and FIFA 15 was my favorite FIFA.
Oh, geez. Are you going to get FIFA 20? I don't think I'm going to get it at first.
You know, I'll probably ask for it for Christmas, and if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't.
Right.
I'm not going to buy it.
Yeah, they're expensive.
And, like, if it's anything like FIFA 19, I will be disappointed.
Milner was saying they added, like, FIFA Street and stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is cool. Again, they added some more, like, street elements to the game, which is fun.
They should actually make an enjoyable career mode experience. That would be great.
Right.
That's hard. All I want.
Yeah, I switched over to Ultimate Team a while ago, and that just gets annoying after a while.
I've never had any interest in Ultimate Team.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting from a standpoint, but it's just weird. They've had to put so much market regulations in it to make it work properly.
Yeah.
So, I always also find like struggle playing video games now. Like having the time when I'm at school, it's hard. I would say my workload over the past year has gotten substantially increased. It's really frustrating. It's not frustrating because it's like I'm getting mad I can't play video games. But like people, like when I go down there in Florida, people don't understand. Like up here, you know, you have like a snow day or it's a winter day or it's freezing outside, not even snowing, and you're like, what are you gonna do? It's like you play. That's when you start the new career mode and you have a fun day and you play. A ton of FIFA. Down there, you just go outside and go find something to do because there's millions of things to do in Orlando. Yeah. But in here, it's like, well, we got Cedar Point. If that's closed, I mean, you can go to a pool, but like you probably have to deal with little kids.
Always.
I mean, there's decent golf courses, but like when you're 10, you're not golfing.
True.
So like now I golf, which is difficult. I'm trying to learn. It's a bit tough.
I don't think that's ever going to be a sport I find any interest in.
Do you play intramurals at Akron?
I tried, but like now with work and everything, I just don't have the time, and I'd rather be making money than wasting my time playing with people that don't have any sports ability.
It's tough. It is. There's always a big gap sometimes with people. So like, I mean, I have certainly not at my peak athletically anymore, which is kind of sad to say when I'm 20.
Me too. I feel it.
But, like, I'm at least athletic enough a lot of times, or sometimes people I play with, which is great. Like, they're getting out there, they're being active. I mean, I'm not trying to shame anybody that does that. Especially when it's for UCF, it's free, so it's like, you might as well. But it's also sometimes, like you say, it's like, especially with soccer, because, like, I try to play real soccer, and it's just, I have to get in the mindset of, like, it's not. So.
It's like coaching kids back at the force again.
That's right.
Don't miss that.
So you have no interest in coaching?
Honestly, no.
You're not a big kid guy?
Like, working with kids, because I've taught soccer lessons, I guess.
Oh, swim lessons?
Swim lessons.
Yeah.
I deal with kids every day at the pools I work at. I have no desire to work with kids again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't blame you. I think kids are really tough. That's why, like, if I wish I could take over just a high school team straight up, but that's not how it works. That's not how you have to really grind in the coaching. Like, I definitely could tell, like Katie, for instance, she's been wanting to learn about soccer, so, or I don't know if she wants to. I just tell her. Either way, she expresses interest at least. Like, we're going to the Barcelona game on Saturday. It's on Saturday at U of M. So.
Who are they playing?
Napoli. Messi got injured, of course.
Yes, of course.
But I'm still
doubt he would have even played longer than 2 minutes, but
that would have been fine. I've seen Ronaldo play for like 10 minutes, and that was great. But other than that, yeah, I just wanted to see it. But it's fine. I know he released a statement saying he's sorry to the fans, and it's like, I wrote back, don't accept your apology. No, it'll be fine. So as long as
screw you, asshole.
If he wins the Champions League, that all is forgiven. But to explain things, like, and I know there's a couple of our friends, at least, well, maybe not our friends, but like I know 3 of the people we know, I don't need to name by names, but want to get into coaching. One of them already is, pretty seriously. And so, like, that's, like, I've never thought of myself doing that, which is a bit weird because I feel like I'm pretty knowledgeable about the game. I'm not saying, like, I know everything, but, like, I could definitely teach and with how to actually run a session and stuff like that. That's what I don't know. Like, I know the tactics and everything, but actually, like, sitting down and, like, okay, so we need to do this drill to do this. That's the part I don't get. Yeah. But I haven't really even, not necessarily not want to do it, but just haven't thought of doing it or how that would work. So it's kind of, people ask me, I'm like, I don't know.
I would have no idea, like, how to, like, take the little things and build to bigger things.
Yeah, exactly. Like, in a session, you go from one thing to the next thing, and it just builds upon it until you get to your final, like, objective.
Your final thing, like Coach Adam.
Yeah.
Like, he always had a way of, like, we'll do this small, and then we'll make it bigger, and then you'll get it.
Right.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But, like, I would make it small, and then I'd confuse myself on the bigger part.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it just it doesn't compute. I think part of that, too, is, like, when we were actually doing the sessions, it was hard, like, playing in them, but, like, 2 years out, I feel like I've gained a lot of perspective on a lot of different things.
Yeah.
What's the biggest thing you've gotten into in college that you weren't in high school? That you were a little bit? It's a deep question, kind of.
Honestly, my habits haven't changed that much.
Didn't do anything crazy? Didn't become anything crazy at school?
I mean, I broke my back at school. That's something that happened.
That's right. So I remember you told me the story. So how exactly did that occur?
So,
if you're allowed to talk about it.
I'll be as vague as possible.
Okay.
But so, I was at an Arby's quite late at night.
Okay. In Akron?
Yeah, in Akron.
Okay.
And, like, my friends, we were leaving the Arby's and, like, all going our separate ways because we all, like, lived in different areas. Mm-hmm. But my girlfriend and I, we lived near each other, so we were walking home together, and there's, like, a practice soccer field, like, and the first gate was open, like, the gate near the Arby's was open, so it's, like, maybe the second gate on the other side of the field will be open.
Okay.
that gate was not open.
Not open.
So my bright idea was to climb the fence and jump over it to get home because I wanted to go home.
Yeah. Didn't work out.
Yeah, let's just say I landed on my feet, but they slipped out from under me and I landed on my ass.
So you didn't break your tailbone, though. You broke your back.
Yeah, I broke my back.
Okay.
The L1.
Oh, so lumbar one. I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
That's like the lowest one, isn't it?
It was like right here.
Yeah, because it's your lumbar. I
Like,
learned this when I was shadowing. Crap.
right where the spine curves at the bottom. It's like right there.
Yeah, it's like your lumbar. Then you have cervical. There's one I'm missing.
Thoracic.
That's what it is. And that's like in the middle, too, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Cervical and then thoracic.
Yeah, so, wow. But what even is recovery like that? Is it just like pain? Because you can't like put a back cast.
Yeah, basically what they did was they said they're not going to give me a brace.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave me Tylenol 3, which is Tylenol and codeine.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
I didn't take a single one of those. I was just popping ibuprofens.
That's probably good.
3 ibuprofens did the trick.
Yeah. The whole, like, opioid thing's crazy. Especially with injuries like that. Because that's how a lot of people get hooked on them.
Yeah.
Is by getting an injury and all of a sudden you're on Percocets.
There was, I wouldn't say that my family has, like, a lot of addiction, but, like, there's definitely been, like, brushes with drugs in the past in my family. So, like, I don't fuck with that.
Yeah, you're just really conscious of it with stuff like that.
Like, my dad told me, it's like, don't take those, just put them away.
Yeah, I'm sure it's like there's a heritable component to it.
Yeah.
Heritable, whatever. Yeah, I'm sure there is. I mean, addiction's terrifying. And a lot of people stigmatize it, but they don't understand how terrible it is for the person in it, how hard it is to get out, how terrifying it is.
Yeah, and, like, you can tell someone that they're addicted, but they probably won't believe you until something dramatic happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure, because people will be like, oh, just get off it, stop doing it, that kind of thing, but addiction, like, rewires your brain chemistry.
Yeah.
It hijacks your reward system, so that's why it's even stuff like heroin. I mean, you see the people that look physiologically terrible, but then it just reinforces them to do the one thing that makes them feel good, which is heroin. Which is a really messed up thing and insane. But, yeah, and that's how it works. We're gonna do this last topic I just thought of, and then we'll wrap up. Where are you with marijuana?
So, personally, I do not think marijuana is... I feel it's on the same level as alcohol.
Okay, there we go.
Like,
That's me
if
too.
a 21-year-old can be slamming back the booze, they should be able to light up a joint.
Yeah.
Recreationally and have no consequences. Like...
Mm-hmm. And it's still, correct me if I'm wrong, it's still legal in this state, but for medical use it is legal.
It is legal
in Ohio. I think Florida's the same thing. Michigan just legalized full-blown.
Yep. Canada did too.
Yeah. Has that been for a while now? Has Canada been?
I think
it is recent.
Canada happened earlier this year or late last year. I don't quite remember.
Okay. I also know, like, for me, I've never smoked weed. I understand a lot of things against it. But also, like, I agree with you, like, alcohol, you know, people think it's just been exposed in our lives for a lot longer. But alcohol at its base is still very serious. And, of course, anything in moderation isn't terrible.
Yes.
Granted. Except for a couple ridiculous substances that you can guess. But, like, alcohol, you know, it damages your liver, damages your brain after continued use. It is addictive.
Correct.
People say it's not. It is. It's obviously very issues with memory, goes on and on. You can get into a whole wide thing with that. Now, the thing that I struggle a little bit with is that we don't necessarily have a lot of research based on marijuana because we haven't been able to do any trials with it per se because it's been illegal. But part of that is trying to get it legalized. I also think it's terrible. I'm with this with guns too. I mean, we just had a couple mass shootings recently, so
one in Ohio too.
Yes, in Dayton. So I'm very sad about that. And at this point, it's just so desensitized to a lot of people. It's insane. But I feel kind of similarly with this. I just had a conversation with my friends yesterday about it. I'm like, I get the whole state right thing, but like, these are laws that should be national. Like, I get there's a federal law repealing it, but then it's legal in states. So it's like, I just feel like it should be legal in all states. It's like, just have it be consistent. Same thing for, you could tell me, that whatever gun law you came up with, as long, and I have my own opinion on what that would look like. We can talk about it, but like, if it was just consistent across every state, that'd be fantastic. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Like something I've heard about that Chicago is the famous gun-free zone, and Chicago still has tons of crime. It's not that hard to drive from Indiana and buy a gun at a gun show and then go up to Chicago.
Yeah,
it's not very long, guys. I don't know if you know this. It's not that far of a drive. So, like, I mean, I know it's a very controversial topic. People get really upset. So, with a lot of these things, and we kind of talked before the show, I'm not that political. You're not that political. And because I think politics is a lot of bullshit and people just getting angry at each other for no reason.
Yes.
And in general, I think there's like some common sense solutions. So like, I'm not one of those people that thinks you got to get rid of all the guns. I get the part about defense.
Yes.
I think you should be able to get a pistol for that.
But yeah, you don't need a military-styled assault weapon to defend your home.
My issue is when people, this is where people don't make sense, and I get it. Like the Second Amendment, was written in a time to with the government where you could reasonably. I mean, this happened with what was the famous farmer revolt, the Shea Farmer thing, whatever, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Where you could take up arms and actually defend yourself against a government that you didn't feel was doing you just. You could do that. I don't know if people understand this. You can't do that now. You're not going to be able to go to your assault rifle and be like, hey. I tell people this sometimes. I'm like, my opinion is if the government wants you dead, you're going to die.
You will be dead.
You're going to die. I also don't want to stomp on people who hunt or people who do that kind of stuff because I understand that's a recreation activity. As long as you do it legally. Obviously, there's other issues with that, but that hunting is a thing that is important for the environment. It can actually help with animal population. I get that. So I don't want to stomp on them either, because that's a world I just don't understand. So I'm not going to comment on that, be like, you don't need that for hunting, because I just don't know.
True.
But in general, I just think that, I know I'm ranting here, which is exactly what podcasts are for, but I'm still apologizing. Like, just have something national. Why is it different from Indiana to Florida? It shouldn't be.
Yeah, it shouldn't.
Why is it different from Iowa to California? It shouldn't be. It doesn't make sense. And I agree with you. I think that, smaller like weapons, and obviously when we talk about mass shootings, you need to have mental health stuff as well. And obviously as a future physician and you're working in medicine too in a degree, that's very important as well. We need to get better with that as well with this type of thing. So, and I think we are getting better screening for that.
Yeah.
But it takes a while.
But also, like, sometimes the mental health thing when it comes to mass shootings is used as a distraction from what really happened. Mm-hmm. Like, was it the El Paso one? Like, literally posted a manifesto online saying he was taking care of the Mexican invasion.
Oh. Yeah, that's an issue.
Yeah, that's not
good.
Personally, like, maybe that could be mental health linked, but that seems more like hatred to me.
Yeah, so I think, like, it depends what you define mental health, because you could also just be deranged.
That's true.
So, like, if that's technically, like, mental health, people just say mental health, but mental health usually implies that there's some illness. So you have depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, blah, blah, blah. You can go on and on with all those umbrella terms because there's tons of them. But, like, what you're saying is that this guy, if what you're saying is true, you're implying, like, I didn't see that, so I'm just going to go off what you're saying, as you are you're the Associated Press here, that this guy, had a thing against Mexicans. He was racist inherently. He was very biased, obviously, to take up arms against them. So that's not necessarily, that doesn't fall under mental health. Now you could, what ends up happening a lot of times is they pick something else, like, oh, he sent a text to his mom that was like, I'm sad. Depression. Limit depression. And it's like, no shit, we should limit depression. That's a very good, but like it's also just people are, like I said, deranged is a pretty good word, but it's like, obviously there's other societal things, like you're saying, like this one would be stamping out bias. I think we all agree in any walk of life that's great, but it also comes into this. So there's also, it's not just psychological disease stuff, because if you just run disease checks, you're not gonna get everybody. Like, a person can be disease free and be a terrible person.
That's true.
So like that it's a very the other thing I hate that people do, and maybe it's just the world we live in with sound bites. This frustrates me to no end. These are complex issues. Gun violence, abortion, immigration, whatever you want to say. You can have like a 1 or 2 sentence summary, but like you just said, I didn't even mean to talk about gun control. We just talked about 5 minutes for it, and we didn't
plan any of this.
Yeah, and there's no like. And we could keep going about it if we want to. We won't. But like, you keep going on it because these are complex things. And that's why that's why I really like podcasts, listening to podcasts, because people can really talk about the nuances in each issue. But like when you're on TV, and like, I didn't watch these Democrat debates.
I did not either.
But I remember watching one of them a while ago, like for one election. It's like 60 seconds you get to talk. It's like, how can you talk about something? Healthcare is the same thing. It's like, how can you really, take with what system we have now, talk about all the issues with it, and talk about the ramifications of your idea, and then go back and debate? You can't.
Yeah, political debates are more of a platform for the candidate to woo you with whatever BS that they want to tell you. Mm-hmm. And then when they actually get in office, that's how they'll be. Yeah,
and that's why I deleted Twitter. I have Twitter to promote this, and that's it. I was been off it for months because it's like people just arguing with each other over 280 characters. Even if you do the thing where it's like 1 out of 5, 2 out of, you know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. It's like you cannot convey ideas or have good discussion with them, especially because then people are like, you read a tweet. It's the same thing with a text sometimes. Like, sometimes I misinterpret the tone of a text, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like, when you do a tweet and you're talking with someone you don't know, that's supposed to build up conversation. It's like, oh, he was rude to me, I'm going to be rude back. And it's like, goodness, the internet is beautiful, and I love that we can find information, but I think that with the social media aspect of it, there's been a lot of unintended consequences that we're also struggling with right now.
Getting on social media to have political discussion or any kind of discussion, really, it's not the way to go. Just use it for your memes.
Exactly.
And Instagram for pictures of your vacation. Mm-hmm. That's what you need it for.
I think Instagram's better because you don't really discuss. It's like,
you just see, oh, that person's doing this today. Yeah. That's cool.
Why'd you take this picture at this angle, Becky? It looks terrible. Like you said.
Oh my God, Becky! I told you not to post that.
Yeah, really. My eyebrow doesn't look great in this. It's a centimeter off. Anyway. Yeah, I agree with you. So that's why I know you were never really too big. I know you're on the platforms, but you weren't too big of a user. I never saw you on there tweeting like 3 times a day. So.
Oh no, I have a Facebook. I've never posted anything on that besides like my profile pictures. I got an Instagram recently, still empty.
Nice. Yeah, I just.
And then Twitter. My favorite interactions I've had on Twitter was going back and forth with our friend Luke.
Oh,
just
God,
being sassy with him.
Luke's funny. Luke's funny on there. He's coming on tomorrow. We're doing college football. But yeah, he's a great guy. God. Yeah, so that's like, I just feel like what you and I mean, we agreed a lot, so, but in terms of just discussion, like what we just had is so much better than anything. Like, still, sit down at a table, whether you're at a table, whether you're out to eat or something, and just talk. And don't come in with, like, this person sucks, or if this person's wearing a Trump hat, they're an idiot. Because they probably still have some decent thing to pick up on. And maybe they are all the way out to the right or all the way out to the left or whatever your issue is to where they are ridiculous. But like, I just think nothing gets done when you sit there and you're so defensive about your own ideas and so wrapped up in your own ideas. Because I am just one person of 7 billion. And based on my understanding of the world, we are all just one person and 7 billion.
That's correct.
And it's like,
astute.
There are so many different lives and experiences that come up that I just will never be able to understand. But I can try. Damn, that got deep.
And that's why learning new things is important.
Grab a dictionary.
Try to learn something about the world, kids.
That's right. Talk to people. Just talk to people. It's the world's fascinating when just talking to people, especially at, like, I'm sure you've experienced this at college campuses. There's so much diversity there. It's insane.
Yeah.
I hear a different language every day.
I work with a girl from Brazil, and like I would have never guessed she was from Brazil. Like when I first met her.
Crazy country.
Like
South America scares me.
She was talking about like buying clothes and stuff there, and she was like, do it there because it's a lot cheaper than here, and it's the same thing.
Yeah, but it's like military dictatorship. I don't know if Brazil has one, but like I know some of them do.
You just go to the touristy parts and you're
That's
okay.
true. That's true. Especially if it's like a soccer tournament, you're gonna be fine during the soccer tournament. Don't worry. But it's like
They don't fuck with the soccer tournaments.
yeah, it's like they don't mess with that. They know. But yeah, there you go. That's the lasting advice. Talk to people, catch up with people, live life, understand the world. Bam.
Love each other.
Love each other. That's important. Love is very important. People think we're being like we're like joking, but we're being serious. Like, it's fascinating that we have to say that.
This is not a joke.
No, it's not. I mean, we're laughing, but it's just such basic concepts. To goodness, we're all humans.
The
Relax.
golden rule: love your neighbor as I have loved you. Jesus Christ.
I thought you were going to say, don't covet thy neighbor. And I was be like, well, we're
Don't covet thy neighbor's wife.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, don't covet thy neighbor's wife.
Don't covet thy neighbor's things.
Yeah, goodness. The 10 Commandments out in here. That's where we're close with.
Let's pull out the Beatitudes now.
Brandon, this was a lot of fun. We're going to have to do it again soon. Thank you for coming on.
Anytime.
Thank you for listening to the Assist Podcast. If you like the show, go drop a 5-star rating. That really helps us keep the show going. If you want to stay updated with all of the podcast episodes, hit the subscribe button, and also go follow our Twitter, which is @assist_podcast, and our Instagram, which is now the Assist Podcast. And you can write any emails, any suggestions you have to theassistpod@yahoo.com, and we'll see you next week.